straight because it's getting late. What you waiting for? It's really never coming. No one hears the sorry tunes that you're humming. I'm here to bring the news that if you're singing the blues every day and you will not take ab, it's a cool man. Yeah. They say, Lord, nobody forced you to quit. You just tossed. You put your faith in the God with hazel eyes. You thought you would get a prize. All you got was lies. Now you're stuck in a room with some room. Did you
Pause. Welcome to Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays. Let me just navigate around my window. Oh, wait a minute. Check, mic check, 1, 2. So we about to transition over to audio from this mic, but I want, before we even get into breaking down the lyrics, I want y'all to just listen. I'm not a DJ, at least not yet. Big shout out to DJ KK, the people's DJ from the Bronx. I've been asking her to, teach me how to DJ. But before we even get into Roxanne Shanté's Independent Woman, I want y'all to hear the song. So let's share the audio. Advance, share computer audio. I'm hoping this time y'all will be able to hear it a little bit better. Last time I just put the vocals up to the mic. But you know what? We're doing it step by step. Okay. So let's see. Da-dum, 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 da-dum. Grinding. All right. So, hey y'all. Welcome to Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays. This is a podcast where we honor, amplify, chronicle, and reflect upon the women who birthed this culture that we love and that we've benefited from, called hip hop, and beyond, because there is such a powerful intersection between Black women, Black and brown women, and Black women's very distinct experience in the music industry. And there's so much overlap. There's a lot of history that preceded the birth of hip hop culture. And there's a lot of history that preceded the birth of the music industry, as far as the West and how imperialism, colonization, racism were created and developed, and how those systems of oppression have targeted, African heritage, Black African heritage, women in particular. And so we get into those different parts, but that's one of my passions really in my work, has always centered around Black women and girls liberation. By the way, if you don't know me, my name is Coco Peila. I'm a multi-hyphenate hip hop artist, MC, singer, songwriter, record producer, and also affectionately known as the music midwife. No, I'm not sweating. I'm not sweating. I just hopped out the shower. It's been one of them days. I almost came on here with my towel wrapped around my head, but I was like, okay. So today we are revisiting a segment called The Message. As you know, this is the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast, and we have different segments. Last week, we were doing a segment called Her Story in the Pages, where we explore the stories, contributions, lives of women in hip hop through literature. We're currently reading through a book called God Save the Queens, The Essential History of Women in Hip Hop by Kathy Yandeli. It's probably somewhere around here on my desk or in my backpack. Yep, it's right here. Bing. And we learned about the Roxanne Wars, the 1980s Roxanne Wars, how Roxanne Shanté kicked the door down in 84 with Roxanne's Revenge and jumped in the mix with this beef between Queensbridge and Brooklyn's UTFO, kind of how she became a member of the Juice Crew. We talked about the world premiere of Roxanne's Revenge on Mr. Magic's Rap Attack with Molly Ma and her getting signed to Cold Chillin' Records, which was owned by Fly Tie. So we talked about that. We also talked about, if you missed it, go back. And I even played different records from UTFO's Hanging Out to the B-side of Hanging Out called Roxanne Roxanne, which is what sparked part of what sparked Roxanne's Revenge. The real thing that sparked Roxanne's Revenge is some tea that you can go back to episode 21, the last episode. Um, if you want to learn more about what sparked the beef. But that was the track, Roxanne Roxanne was a track that Roxanne's Revenge was the response record to. We learned that Roxanne Shanté was 14 years old and she freestyled the entire record. She did it in one take up in Molly's studio, which was above the laundromat where she used to go wash her mama's clothes. So I mean, it's just like an incredible story. But the other thing that we did, which is not as often spoken about, and we did it because it's in the book, God Save the Queens, is we listened to the battle, the 1985 New Music Seminar MC Battle for World Supremacy final round between Busy Bee Starsky, Chief Rocka, Busy Bee Starsky, you got to put some respect on his name, and Roxanne Shanté, and remember, and basically got to listen to them freestyle battle rapping back and forth in 85. And as according to Curtis Blow, uh, this is the first time in hip hop culture, 11 years into the culture, right, where battle rapping with is introduced with disrespect. The battle rap that we've come to know, and some of us love, some of us hate, some of us avoid, is the one where you figure out how to humiliate and dehumanize and just, it's an iteration of the dozens, um how can I just basically like read you, shut you down, like break you down, pick you apart. And according to Curtis Blow, as is chronicled in this book, God Save the Queens, Curtis is like, this is the first time that anybody was disrespecting the opponent, the battle opponent from head to toe. That Roxanne Shanté, she was the first MC to do that. And I have never heard, except in one interview from a couple years back, I've never heard any of our greats or any documentary actually give her the credit for being the mother of battle rap. And I know that it's a lot of battle rappers who might not know that. And that's just a function of erasure. Oh God, I'm talking and I don't have the mic hooked up. Okay, hold up. Let me just hook this up. Um, this 4K mic. I'm trying to learn how to use it, okay? As the episode's gone, maybe this is gonna look clear, but let me unplug the charger. Let's get a real mic up in the mix. Get a mic up in the mix. Hey. All right. Your girl is getting her shit together. Hold up. Setting. Audio. Speaker. Oops. Mic check one, two. Mic check one, two. So let's adjust the audio. I don't know if y'all know this, but my undergrad was in audio engineering and recording arts. I be acting sometimes like I don't know how. Okay. Um, automatically adjust the volume. Check, check. Mic check one, two. Um, just turn up the input just a little bit more. Mic check one, two. Mic check. One, twist naive. You got it? All right. Can y'all hear me? I feel like it's still hella low, but mic check one, two. What you wanna do? What you wanna do? Maybe if I put it right here. Check, check. But now it's in my face. Check, check. All right. So I'm hoping it's kind of right up in my grill, but I'm hoping that this will work for now and then we'll troubleshoot. I can't hear how it's live streaming and what's going on. Um, Thank you for pausing with me. So I tell you all this backstory to say, you want more tea? Go to the last episode. We go through a deep dive and we even play the battle so you can hear literally the moderator of the battle. You can hear Busy Bee, you can hear Roxanne Shanté, and she was 15 years old competing against a grown man, and like literally changing the trajectory of hip hop history. Did she win? Did she lose? You're gonna have to go back to that episode to find out. But today we're going to move on from her story in the pages, and I thought that before we, you know, keep it moving, that we could dig into some other lyrics because Roxanne Shante did start at such a young age, which honestly, the average age for our pioneer, our firsts hip hop heads, they were teenagers. A lot of us, like me, I'm 38, I was born in 1987. A lot of us, I'm a millennial, so I wouldn't necessarily say I'm an old head, but people often are like, "Oh, you have a old school hip hop style," as far as when I'm rapping, um, or like my mentality. But like the old heads are, elders formally, now, and a lot of us, even professional recording artists, are we up there. Even some of the super poppin' folks like Cardi B, I think is 33 years old. Some of the biggest recording artists are in their late 20s, early 30s. Right now, Kendrick Lamar is 38. Um, Nicki Minaj is in her 40s, so we have to remember that these young heads, they were like teenagers, the creators were teenagers. Um, Cindy Campbell, who is responsible for inspiring and planning and envisioning the first hip hop jam, the one that we recognize as the first at 1120 Sedgwick Avenue. I hope I'm like, is that right? Yes, it is. In the Bronx, uh, she was going into her freshman year of high school, I believe. She was like young, um, and got her older brother Clive Campbell, aka DJ Cool Herc, to spin at this really iconic historical party jam in the rec room, an all ages jam. And so, where am I going with this? Um, they were young, and she was young. But the thing is that Shantae never stopped releasing music. She continued to release music. She also came into the game at a period that was like a transitional period where not everybody had access to a studio, not everybody had access to equipment. The first rap albums uh, were not necessarily being put out. So she came into the culture at a time that was a transitional time, and so she's released music throughout her career. So I wanted to dive into this particular song. I'm so sorry. I'm like, oh, I just have a little something to say, and then we gonna listen to the song. But um, I love this so much. So it's up. So the song that we're studying is called Independent Woman. This song, I will leave more information about the song itself, the year, the collaborators, producers, all that stuff down in the notes after I post this. I'm reading the lyrics out of the anthology of rap. Independent Women isn't a song that I grew up hearing on the radio. And so if it's a song that I grew up hearing, I grew up with, or it was on the radio at the time where I had to go, you get the cassette tape or you get the CD and you read the liner notes or the lyrics and you memorize it, or you just listen to it a million times and memorize it. It wasn't one of those songs for me. I wasn't exposed to it. So I have this book called The Anthology of Rap, edited by Adam Bradley and Andrew Du Bois. And it's a super dope book. The foreword is by Henry Louis Gates Jr. and the afterwords is by Chuck D. and Common. So it's just super dope, and it goes through the different eras, and it doesn't have every single hip hop artist and every single hip hop record, but it has a lot of like iconic and significant records. Check. Can you hear me? Can you still hear me? I hope y'all can hear me. Okay. So before we go any further, I want to play this song for you. If for some reason the audio is not as good quality, I'll link the YouTube link below in the description. You can also look it up, Roxanne Shanté, Independent Woman. It should work a little bit better this time. Thank you for the feedback last time. And we step in our audio up. So knowing that, good. Oh, it's being shared in mono. Why? We should share it in studio. Okay. I mean in stereo. Wait a second. I just want to check. The audio is being shared. Output. Spatial audio. I'm sorry, y'all. Hang with me. Original sound from musicians. Ha! Stereo. Okay, so it has echo cancellation, but we're gonna do okay. We're gonna do stereo audio. All right. Now we're cooking with gas, as my grandmother used to say. And I'm gonna play it. Share computer. Boom. Okay. Give me one more second, y'all. Just take a breath. We're gonna be all right. Kendrick's turn. All right. Check. Mic check. 1, 2, 1, 2. All right, let's see. Get it popping. This is Independent Woman by Roxanne Shanté. And big shout out to our mother. We have so many mothers to thank. All right, Shanté, let's kick it.
Ladies, listen up. I really hope you're ready, because what I've got to say is far from petty. We've come a long way, baby, so maybe Shanté can help a sister that's way behind, lost in the mind and can't find her way to a better day. You know the kind, so wrapped up in fairy tale dreams, so naive that every male seems honest and loyal, ready to spoil, buying them gifts as if the boy's loyal. Well, Shanté is here just to say a few things, some you heard before, but some are new things. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent. independent woman. How many ruddy nosed kids can you have? How many nights can you work on the Ave? Your so-called man has a car and a visa. He's living large while you're living on pizza. Unemployed while you wait for the perfect mate. Let's get one thing straight, cause it's getting late. What you waiting for is really never coming. No one hears the sorry tunes that you're humming. I'm here to bring the news that if you're singing the blues every day, it will not change the views that people have of you. They say you're lost, nobody forced you to quit. Your future's tossed, you put your faith in the guys with the hazel eyes. You thought you would get a prize, all you got was lies. Now you're stuck in a room with a mop and broom. Did you assume that one day you would find a groom? Are you dizzy? Who would ever marry you? You're looking for a man that will carry you and buy you nice things like diamond rings. You're amazed at the truth that my rhyming brings, but the truth is the only way you'll ever see that the life that you're hoping for will never be. But the race isn't over. Put down the rope. Shanté is here to say there's still hope. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's have the cheers for the years of the independent woman. So much to live for, she wants to die. Life's full of pitfalls, maybe that's why her pops went to jail, her mother tapped the vein. City took custody and trapped her in pain. Feeling so alone in a room with a stranger. Hates her own blood and nothing's gonna change her. Angry at the world cause it doesn't play fair. So much despair does she feel, no one to care. Not a single family member will remember her. Smokes in her eyes and the past is a blur. She's on her own now, living with some other girls with the same damn life but from a different world. These girls are lost, how the city is full of fools. So many years, no guidance and no kind of rules. No love to give, yo, they need love to live. If not instead, they'll find it in a bed. Sex is the thing that makes her feel wanted. Love and cared for, she's undaunted. Because whoever is laying there won't really matter. Such a sad song when young dreams shatter. I really don't think glue is gonna fix it, but homegirl can walk the right path if she picks it. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman.
Yeah.
The black woman role grows larger each day. Nothing in the way, so what we teach may somehow help those young sisters that doze and sleepwalk through life with their eyes closed. You don't need a man, all you need is to know you can. Then you can stand on your own 2 feet and achieve anything that you want out of life. Do for yourself, then you can be a wife. And you'll feel so good that you wanna shout because you got to the top and got there without relying on Tom, Dick, or Billy D. You don't have to turn the lights on to really see. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. Independent woman.
Yes. So that was Independent Woman by Roxanne Shanté. I'm really feeling like a radio DJ right now with my headphones and my mic. Um, I did not know this was going to be a part of the podcast, but I wanted y'all to hear the song first because it's so different hearing it on the paper. Me as a writer, I feel like I can read something off the paper and people might perceive it more as poetry, which a lot of us would say it is poetry, in a certain way. But I wanted you to hear the musicality of it and the rhythm in her delivery. So she opens up and she says, "Ladies, listen up. I really hope you're ready, because what I've got to say is far from petty. We've come a long way, baby, so maybe Shanté can help a sister that's way behind, lost in the mind and can't find her way to a better day. You know the kind, so wrapped up in fairy tale dreams, so naive that every male seems honest and loyal, ready to spoil, buying him gifts as if the boy's loyal. But Shantae's here just to say a few things. Some you heard before, but some are new things. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. And so let's pause. First of all, this piece is the hook, is the chorus of the song. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. Um, as a songwriter and a songwriting coach, and someone who has taught young people and coached young people and adults in and outside of the studio, and taught songwriting in many different places, we always start with standard Western, song structure. And then immediately I go into the first what is the first section or part of a song that I want them to really understand, and it's always the chorus first. For my youngsters that are like, really learning songwriting for the first time, it's always the chorus first. And it's the chorus first because the chorus is what? Say it with me. It's the subject. It's the concept. It's the main idea, right? If you were writing an essay or a book or anything, it's the focal point, right? And it's what we're organizing all the other sections of the song around or the story around. I don't like that this is in my beautiful face. I'm not feeling it. Check, check, my check. Okay, good. So y'all could still hear me. Um, and I don't like that y'all could see my printer paper. But it is what it is. We here. This is real. Um, so this is, and I always teach too. Sometimes the title of the song has nothing to do with the main idea, the subject, the main point, what people want you to get out of it. But sometimes it does. And in this situation, it does have a lot to do with it. But the chorus is, so lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. Um, the main idea of this song is listen to me. Like come sit with me. Let me holla at you real quick. Um, I know you're going through it, girl. You can, I mean, if you know anything about Roxanne Shanté's story, then you know this is from, I believe, from the project Bad Sister. And, this is after Roxanne's Revenge. This is after um, touring, battling Sparky D, touring the country. This is after, having a child. This is like after she's been through a lot of things and she's speaking on it. And I loved reading the lyrics and hearing the song for the first time because I mean, you just gotta love a woman who goes through some shit and turns around and reaches back for other women and girls. A woman after my own heart. So the main subject is like, come here, girl. I'm already knowing what's going on with you. Let me holler at you real quick. Dry up them tears. There is hope. There is cause to celebrate. She say, let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. And I would love to interview Roxanne Shanté, and I would want to know from her like how she would break this song down. But from my interpretation and how I want to interpret it is she's kind of like, look, she chronicles what's you know, behind you. This is what you've been through. This is what she been through. This is what we've been through. But dry up them tears and we about to like turn up in a way for the years that are ahead of us, which are the years of the independent woman. We went through what we went through, and now it's a new era. You know how people are like, I'm going through my soft era, I'm going through my whatever. This is like I'm about to step into my independent woman era. And she's inviting them with her into an era that she found through the struggle and strife and challenges and obstacles. Um, I also really love the way that she addresses the fairy tales, which is like one way that we as girls get indoctrinated into be kind of are made to become vulnerable to being exploited, within these systems of oppression, right? The fairy tale kind of being lost in a dream, a fantasy, an idea instead of being present to what's really happening in front of us. She says, how many runny nosed kids can you have? How many nights can you work on the Ave? Your so-called man has a car and a visa. He's living large while you're living on pizza. Unemployed while you wait for the perfect mate. Let's get one thing straight because it's getting late. Also, pause. Have you noticed that she does something that Big Pun was also really well known for, which is like, it's not just like, my name is Coco and I rock the mic. Um, I ain't messing with my shadow side. I came to bring the light. If you step to me, you know it's gonna be a fight, right? She's not just like rhyming the like one syllable in the end of in the last word, right? Um, but sometimes she takes the same sound and she rhymes it two, three, four times within one line, one bar. Between, she'll be spitting, it'll happen twice in this bar, twice in that bar, three times in that bar, or in between lines. And that tells you, like, at this point in her career when she's writing this song, it's a very complex way of writing rhymes. So she says, unemployed while you wait for the perfect mate. Let's get this thing straight because it's getting late. What you're waiting for is really never coming. I'm here to bring the news that if you're singing the blues every day, it will not change the views. The other thing I love is that she doesn't just stay on the same sound, right? She's wait, mate, straight, late. Wait. And then she, in the second one, she says, what you're waiting for. So she's pulling in the rhyme from the last line. And then she switches it up. What you're waiting for is really never coming. No one hears the sorry tunes that you're humming. You think she gonna keep on with that, but now she switches it. I'm here to bring the news that if you're singing the blues every day, it will not change the views that people have of you. They say you're lost. Nobody forced you to quit. Your future's tossed. You put your faith in guys with the hazel eyes. This made me be like, Shantae, who's in your life with hazel eyes? But we also know like internalized racism and colorism has impacted the Black and brown communities in a way where like when one of us has lighter skin or green eyes, blue eyes, hazel eyes, there is like a fetishizing that happens because it's closer to whiteness and further from blackness, or at least perceived that way. Um, and so though it's perceived oftentimes as more attractive. So she said, you put your faith in the guys with the hazel eyes. You thought you would get a prize. All you got was lies. Now you're stuck in a room with a mop and a broom. Did you assume that one day you will find a groom? Are you dizzy? Who would ever marry you? You're looking for a man that will carry you and buy you nice things like diamond rings. You're amazed at the truth that my rhyming brings. But the truth is the only way you'll ever see that the life that you're hoping for will never be. But the race isn't over. Put down the rope. Shantae is here to say there's still hope. Again, she's underscoring the main part, the main idea, which now she brings it back in. She's transitioned through more storytelling, more kind of like, look, I'm already knowing what you're going through. I know your mentality. I know the impact. Especially for her at this point being a mother, it's like she's already raised a baby. She understands what it is, the economic pressures of the fantasy of marriage and what she wanted, from that, at least in that era of her life, and not and how she was being taken advantage of, right? And so she's like, telling the story, and she weaves it all back to, she says the race isn't over yet. Put down the rope. So like, and she literally follows up with saying, there's still hope. And back to the chorus. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. Um, it's interesting because part of me feels like defensive because some of the things she's saying is like harsh, I'm like, dang. But then I'm also thinking about like, is this song also lightweight autobiographical? She's kind of talking about the things she's been through that only another woman or girl who has been through that similar situation or is going through it could relate to. And so maybe there's a harshness to it, even maybe a certain tone, but I feel like she continues to be like, I'm not trying to judge you. I want to offer you hope that you can still celebrate life as an independent woman. So much to live for, she opens the third verse. She wants to die. Life's full of pitfalls. Maybe that's why her pops went to jail. Her mother tapped her vein. Um, as a child of folks who struggle with substance, as a child who was, taken from my mom at 11, and then, kind of like moved around in my family until I ran out of people who were willing to take me. This, for me, really hit home because there's a direct correlation between when you have parents who have fallen into the pitfalls of life and you don't have that foundation to hold you, how much it can set you up to be vulnerable, to need that support. And where is the next societally acceptable place to find that support? Oftentimes, the next place is through romantic love and relationships. Feeling so alone in the room with a stranger. Yo, that line is so ill to me. Hates her own blood and nothing's gonna change her. Angry at the world because it doesn't play fair. So much despair does she feel, no one to care. Not a single family member will remember her. Okay, the line hit hard just because of the content for me, right? Because of some of the things I've mentioned. But also, she said, not a single family member will remember me. She just is such a wordsmith. Smokes in her eyes, excuse me, will remember her. Smokes in her eyes, and the past is a blur. She's on her own now, living with some girls. Blur, girls. Shantae, if you're listening, I salute you. With the same damn lives, but from a different world. Girls, world. You hearing her? She's going in right now. Y'all not hearing her. These girls are lost how the city is full of fools. So many years, no guidance and no kind of rules. No love to give. Yo, they need to love. They need love to live. True. Basic human need, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If not, instead, they'll ponder in a bed. Sex is the thing that makes her feel wanted, love and care, for she's undaunted because whoever is laying there won't really matter. Such a sad song when your dreams shatter. I really don't think glue is gonna fix it, but homegirl can walk the right path if she picks it. Giving back the agency. It's not over for you, mama. You're still in charge What's the path that you want to walk on? You can do this. Check, check, check. I hope this is working, y'all. I don't know. This is a whole new audio setup. Um, but homegirl can walk the right path if she picks it. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. This fourth verse, this fourth verse, I'll just read it to you. The Black woman's role grows larger each day. Nothing in the way, so what we teach may somehow help those young sisters that doze and sleepwalk through life with their eyes closed. Come on, Shanté. You don't need a man. All you need is to know you can. Then you can stand on your own 2 feet and achieve anything that you want out of life. Do for yourself. Then you can be a wife. When I heard this line, I was thinking about how Beyonce says that, right? She's like, from a very early point in her career, she was like, get your own shit before you become a wife, like have your own shit. And I think for those out there who are married, or those out there who are considering getting married, or those out there who, the brothers who are, in a happy marriage, I, I can't speak on same sex marriage, but what I can speak on is because of the systemic economic oppression of women, having your own is, it's kind of like if you think about being in a relationship with someone who has been set up to be the agent of your oppression. And that's the unfortunate thing about sexism and male domination is like, it's not, men are not bad, men are not evil. It's the way that the oppression sets men up to be the ones in the society to keep women in check playing their role. And ultimately, it's a function of classism, which is about the 1%, the owning class, extracting and exploiting the 99%, the working class, which is all the rest of us, the middle, the working, and the poor. And so ultimately, sexism and male domination is actually most primarily, yes, it benefits men, and sets men up to be the agents of women and girls' oppression, men and boys, women and girls, but ultimately, it's like the whole idea of the overseer on the plantation. Like the overseer doesn't own the plantation and isn't going to benefit for generations and generations and generations, at least as far as I understand it, from the exploited labor that's being extracted from the African heritage people on the plantation, right? But the plantation owner is the one. But the overseer plays the role to be out in the fields or wherever, making sure that the enslaved African people are doing their job so that the owning class, the plantation owner, can extract as much resource and labor as possible, therefore getting the highest, what is it called, profit margin as as is possible. And so I think this is important framing and context. I did not know that I was going to get into this, but because sometimes when we talk about sexism and male domination, and we talk about the oppression of women and girls globally as a class of people, and then we think about the oppression of men, and when we're talking about, in the Black community, the very real, visible, visceral oppression of Black men, it can feel like scapegoating Black men or scapegoating men for the oppression of women. And I think it's important to zoom out and say, this is a systemic oppression where people are set up to carry out a role. And part of how we resist is by not playing our role, not following the script. But that's hard because so many of that the behaviors that enable us to carry out our oppressor roles, and all of us have them. As far as I know, I don't know a person who is completely only in the victimized or oppressed role in all their relationships in the world. So it's like, how do you make a person be willing to oppress another person? Because babies don't just come out that way. I was a nanny for many, many years. I've worked in schools as a teaching artist. I even, have been like a music teacher for a school and, after school and mentoring and coaching and even a classroom teacher for a short stint in a charter school. Child, I don't know why they put me in the classroom. I beg them not to. I'm like, I'm a songwriting teacher. I'm a music teacher. I'm a hip hop teacher. Like, I don't know about classroom management. This is a different world, but I'll tell y'all that story another day. Um, you know, oh, I got lost. Give me a second. How do you get one human being to oppress another? You give one of them an incentive. And sometimes that incentive looks like you're not going to get targeted by this oppression, right? And what I'm saying is, having worked with young people from infant, newborns, all the way up to high schoolers and college age young people and young adults, what I found is the children don't come out of the womb like, I'm white, you're my slave, um, or I'm a man. You need to go to the kitchen and cook, or I'm light skinned. I should be the center of attention and get all the acting roles and the leadership roles and all the visible roles in society. Do you know what I'm saying? Babies don't come out that way. They get taught and conditioned. And so I think that this is important to say because what she's talking about, in my opinion, from my perspective, is she's talking about how Black women and girls navigate um, sexism and male domination and how to become independent, navigating through that sexism and male domination, and of course, racism and classism. And she's talking about Black women and girls in this song. And so she's addressing anti-Black racism. And so this verse where she says, the Black woman's role grows larger each day, nothing in the way, so what we teach may somehow help those young sisters that doze and sleepwalk through life with their eyes closed. You don't need a man. All you need to know is all you need to all you need is to know you can. Then you can stand on your own 2 feet. And again, you're hearing her use that sound there. I'm sure there's a word for it in poetry or in rap, but all I hear is like it's a complex rhyme, that's happening. Achieve anything that you want out of life. Do for yourself, then you could be a wife. And this is where we started out on this journey. This is why I think a lot of women say, make sure that you have your own before you engage in the institution of marriage, because it just historically wasn't set up well for women. And once you engage in it, it puts you in a super vulnerable position. Now, if you have a partner who's like, I got you, you got me, we are equals, and we're gonna work as teammates. And if we come up against sexism and male domination out in the society or the institutions, I got your back. Like, for example, back in the day, women weren't allowed to have credit or their own checking account, bank account before 1973, the year that hip hop was birthed. My mama was born in 56. My father was born in 1942. So you think about like before 1973, a woman had to have a man in her family, her father, her husband, a brother, an uncle. Because she couldn't have a checking account, even if she had a job under the table or over the table, formal, she, where was she going to put the money? She couldn't have access to credit. Some places only take credit. Like to this day, you'll try to rent a car. They're like, if you don't have a credit card, you can't rent it. So that means that now you're systemically blocked out of access to certain things in society that you need in order to navigate it, right? So to me, I interpret this as like, just have your own shit. God bless the child who has his own, right? Billie Holiday. Um, so have your own shit before you engage with this. And then she says, and you'll feel so good that you want to shout because you got to the top and got there without relying on Tom, Dick, or Billy D. You don't have to turn the lights on to really see this line, everything. And then she closes with the chorus. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman. Louder, independent woman. Um, so yeah, I'm so curious what you thought about that. Of course, I always offer my socio-political analysis and my perspective, but hip hop is a conversation. It's one of the lines from one of my songs is hip hop is a conversation. So what the fuck is you saying? What are you saying? Because we're in an exchange, we're in a call and response. What do you have to contribute? What do you think about this? Because I see it from my perspective, but I've never walked in your shoes. And that's the beauty and the genius of this culture in all the primary elements, emceeing, breakdancing, DJing and graffiti. Like they're all modes of communication and modes where you can send out a call and get a response back. And that support conversation and building and growing and the exchange of knowledge and the strengthening of community and relationships. So big shout out to our queen, Roxanne Shanté from Queensbridge. I think it's Long Island City, Queens, New York, from the Queensbridge projects originally. Thank you so much, Roxanne Shante, for your contributions then and now continuously to this culture. We honor you. We give you your flowers. There's so many more songs that we could have done, but this was one of them that I thought was really poignant, especially because she often gets a bad rap, like no pun intended, but like, you know, oh, Roxanne Shante, like kind of like what Curtis Blow was saying about, her being disrespectful in the battle to Busy Bee and such. So I thought that it would be powerful to also see that like she also offered, socio-political analysis too. And I think it's also important as women and Black women analysis about women and girls' lives is socio political commentary. It is social commentary. It is just as important as analysis about Blackness. It is as important as analysis about class. It is as important as analysis about nationalism. And again, I think it's a function of sexism that we often are like, girl power. That's not actually like a liberation movement. It is. And it's important because women were, if not the first, one of the first slave classes of the world. And again, because of the things we talked about early, or if there's a class of people that are just expected to do a bunch of labor that they're not going to get acknowledged or properly remunerated for, properly compensated, paid for, appreciated for, that's a problem. And that's going to create problems for everyone. Right? I mean, just think about it. If you're a boy and your mom is working really hard, but she's only making 30 or 50 cents on the dollar of her male peer who's doing the same labor, then you as a boy relying on your mother have less resource than to live your life. So there's so much intersection. Everybody's oppression, all of these systems of oppression impact all of us. Look, it's just on my mind today. I'm not going to apologize. But if you enjoyed this episode, if you love hip hop culture, if you love women in hip hop, if you love Black women, if you love Black women musicians and recording artists and producers and singers and songwriters, subscribe, like the video, share the video, add it to a playlist, and come back and rock with me every single Wednesday. I think I'm going to start doing like 1 to 3 p.m. or even 12 p.m., but every single Wednesday right here on YouTube. For now, let's call it 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm trying out different times to see like what's the hotspot time for y'all. But every single Wednesday, 12 p.m. Eastern. And if you missed the live stream, you can always come back and watch the replay, share it with the other nerdy hip hop scholars and heads who love the culture. Drop receipts and facts and information and links to other videos. I am ravenous when it comes to reading, researching, watching interviews. By the way, I'm like in a rabbit hole right now about the Notorious B.I.G. and about Lil Kim and just like honestly a lot of aspects of like Brooklyn hip hop culture, the underground aspect of it, not before everyone blew up. As someone whose great grandparents immigrated to Brooklyn, migrated to Brooklyn, whose both grandfathers were born and raised in Brooklyn. So I'm like always really interested in learning a lot about the people and the relationships and the different accounts and perspectives and the untold stories. And I'm going to do a whole episode on that piece um, on Lil Kim eventually, but I'm still gathering my research. But maybe after we read the chapter about her in God Save the Queens, maybe I'll crack open a in that episode or maybe in a different episode. But what was I going to say? One of the reasons why I started the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast was because like I am a woman in hip hop. I've been making music and writing rhymes since I was 11, since basically I had my first journal. And moved to Pasadena and went to school in LA for a very short period of time when I got taken away from my mom and went to live with my dad, and got introduced to different aspects of like LA, West Southern California hip hop, and that, particularly in the neighborhood where I went to school, that culture. But I also moved to the Bay Area when I was 14. I lived in Sacramento from 13 to 14. I lived in Seattle. Where else have I lived? On the border of Mexico in Eagle Pass, Texas, which used to be a very small town, but I'm sure is now more established. I lived in Hawaii. I lived in hella places. Berkeley, California, Oakland, California. But I say that to say, as someone who moved around a lot as a young person, not because like I wanted to explore the world, but just because like I went wherever I was sent and had a home. What I've noticed in all the places that I've lived is there's so much rich culture in every regional community. There's underground hip hop, and there are so many incredible people. Like when you see one person like a Lil Kim or Roxanne Shanté, or you learn about the Mercedes Ladies or MC Light or any of these sisters, Queen Latifah, you when you do the deep dive, you start learning about their lives. There's a whole community, there's a whole ecosystem of hip hop culture and community around them. And for me as an MC and a musician, it's like every time I show up, I don't show up just as me. I show up as like all my mentors, whether or not those relationships are still cool today or whether we fell out. I still show up with all the love, all the mentoring, all the hours of like caring for one another, throwing birthday parties, pulling up on each other when we needed backup, coming to each other's shows, recording, learning different skills. And so for me as a hip hop head, you know, I've had different moments of my career where I've had like what felt like a lot of visibility or breakthrough moments where it's like, oh, I'm about to pop off, especially when I was young. I was like, oh, I want to be famous, so on and so forth. And now I embrace the fact that that's a part of my destiny just because of the purpose that I have and the gift that I have to offer this earth. But the people who are hella famous or even just well known and respected are not the only people who exist in hip hop culture. Throw a rock, you will hit a hip hop head. And throw a rock, and you will absolutely hit someone who was influenced by hip hop, who has some relationship with the culture. The culture is living and breathing. It is a consciousness beyond just a name, the culture, right? Hip hop culture is powerful. And so it has a spirit to it in my mind and my experience. And so people have a relationship with hip hop culture, whether or not they become a professional, world famous, or highly paid MC, DJ, graffiti artist, breakdancer, right? And so another reason, not only to counteract the erasure that has happened to women in hip hop because of sexism and male domination and anti-Black racism and what happens there with Black women's contributions. It's the nature of the beast. If you give her props, you probably gonna have to pay her. You probably gonna have to credit her. You know what I'm saying? Now, if you pay her now, it's less on your plate. It's just not why Black African heritage women were brought to the United States to be credited and well paid. That wasn't the project of the slave trade. The project was about, amassing resources and creating justification for that. And so it just, it's poisoned every aspect of the way that we think and move, all of us. We've internalized it, whether we're on the oppressor end of the spectrum or the targeted victim, oppressed end of the spectrum. And so it's a weird thing because that aspect of systemic oppression has created this lack of knowledge of the fucking gangsta ass contributions. Like in the beginning of the episode, I talk about Roxanne Shanté being the mother of battle rap as we know it. Why isn't that should why did it take me into my 30s, my mid 30s, when I read God Save the Queens to ever find that out? Because do you know how many documentaries I heard where Kool Herc is the father of hip hop, right? I found out through my own independent research in my mid 20s that Cindy Campbell, I wonder when I found that out. Somehow I found out about Cindy Campbell before I read this book, and I would teach about it to my youngsters in my 20s back in the Bay Area. And I would show them the flyer written on the little flash card, not the flash card, but y'all know what I'm talking about with the index card. And I would be like, this is y'all. This is not me. I'm as far as old school hip hop, standards, I'm old and crusty. Like y'all the ones. Um, but why don't we ever hear Cindy Campbell as the mother of hip hop, right? Why don't we hear that? She was an entrepreneur. You know, what would hip hop culture be like if she hadn't have said, you know what? Um, I need some fly clothes for this new year. I'm going into high school. Like I need a, you know, I don't want no regular degular nothing. It's a new, high school, new year, new school, new me. Let me throw a jam in the rec room in the bottom of our building. My brother is a DJ. My dad got the banging sound system straight from Jamaica. I got my mom, they could slide through Costco, get the hot dogs. We could charge the ladies 25 cents and the fellas 50 cents. I mean, what would it be like? And that literally, that formula, that blueprint still exists to this day. So that's part of why I created the Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays podcast, because y'all, if I wasn't an MC, I could literally just become a hip hop researcher and just spend my entire life, for every Wednesday for the rest of my life, just like either interviewing, reviewing lyrics, reviewing songs, reading articles with y'all, like talking about these incredible women, my sisters, my aunties, my mothers, my grandmothers in hip hop. Um, and I think the other piece is, under capitalism, we value fame so much, especially in the West, but I guess everywhere, So it's like, if you're not famous or you haven't made a certain amount of money, you're not legit. And every one of us stands on so many folks' shoulders, some names that we'll never know unless we ask, unless we do the research. And so, as y'all are watching these videos, get in the comments. I have people sometimes, when I used to do this on live, we started this in May of 2025 and just been doing it consistently every Wednesday. And then we started uploading the recordings from the Instagram lives to YouTube. And then from there, now we're just streaming straight to YouTube. But like, people would be in the comments like, go find at so and so. They wrote a book called this. You should interview them, blah, 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 blah. I'm never going to position myself like I'm the all knowing, one expert or something like that. This is a family affair. It's a community job that we got to do to be able to paint the full picture. We're not going to get the full picture. And I love what my brothers, the fathers, the uncles have done. Like, so many male MCs have really deeply influenced me. And there's so many powerful contributions. And me telling the Cindy Campbell story is not to take away from what Cool Herc and the Herculords gave to the culture, or the foundational blueprints that they laid, like, not at all. But it is to say, like, there's more to the story. And I also deeply desire for a paradigm shift, to know that legends walk among us. Just because somebody doesn't have their flowers, or capitalism or the industry or a tastemaker doesn't give someone their flowers, doesn't take away from their legendary or iconic status. And that's so important, that we give flowers and we honor our people before they pass, and before it's a wave. Don't wait to jump on the wave. Oh, like, I don't know. Because sometimes, because we're so criticized and shitted on and stolen from, we wait until somebody is on and popping to sing their praises, or to say, oh, yeah, I remember when he was out on the corner selling CDs 2 for $5 at the fucking Ashby flea market, and we were all making fun of him. And then next thing you know, you know what I'm saying? Treat every person like they are the fullest potential of their destiny and purpose. And remind me to do the same when I forget and I slip. Um, if you love, where is it? If you love independent hip hop soul music, ooh, I could even play you a clip. I got my sound system bumping. This is called The Prince. Who does that remind you of? This is called The Print. It comes in ultra purple. I think I only have 5 left of these. Periwinkle, which is a dope one. Is this periwinkle? Actually, this might be royal blue. Hold up. Yeah, this is royal blue. True purple. Let me hold it up so y'all can see it. Periwinkle, that's the periwinkle. There's another periwinkle. And then the hot pink. And I think there's like 7 left of the hot pink. This is called The Print. On the back, here's a download code to my new song, The Love Me All Acoustic. It's just acoustic vocals and guitar. And if you want one of these, you can obviously go to cocopeila.com/the prince, or you can just drop the word print in the comments, and me or somebody on my team will see it and will respond to you with the special link. We ain't trying to push nothing on you if you don't want one of these dope ass collector's items prints. It's a 12 by 12 print. I know it looks like a vinyl record. There's a vinyl record that comes in my album capsule, but this is a 12 by 12 print with the download code on the back. You can frame it, you can put it up in your office, you can put it in your living room. Definitely is going to be a dope ass high value collector's item, 5, 10, even probably 2 years from now, 1 year, I would even say. There's only 500 of them. We've already sold a ton. Like I said, there's only about 7 left of the hot pink and 5 of the ultra purple. Yeah, this one left. This is the most popular one. And it's just super dope. China Brown is incredible Black female artist from Columbus, Georgia, who I met here teaching songwriting in the schools. I met her here, and she's a teacher, she's a mother, she's uh, an incredible Black woman, and she created this original visual, and I screamed for a long time when I first saw it. So this is a collaboration between the two of us. And yeah, it's not on streaming platforms. It will never be. It's not going to be in my album capsule. It's just this. So if you want one, let me know some. I send out at least one shipment a month, and it's just called The Print. Keep it simple, right? Ooh-wee. Do you know how many, almost 4 decades? It took me almost 4 decades to get that one together. But yeah, make sure you snatch up my latest piece and join me back here next Wednesday on Women in Hip Hop Wednesdays. Um, we are going to be getting into there's so okay. You know what? Just absorb what you just seen. Okay, take some notes, drop a comment, like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already subscribed, and meet me back here next Wednesday at 1 p.m. Eastern. Okay, that's 10 a.m. Pacific. Catch the replay if you miss it. Love y'all so much. Let's play Independent Woman one more time. Why not? We are learning. This is a educational podcast, and we are learning about the history of women in hip hop, Black women in hip hop history. This is Roxanne Shanté, Independent Woman. I hope y'all can hear this. Hey.
Ladies, listen up. I really hope you're ready. Cause what I've got to say is far from petty. We've come a long way, baby. So maybe Shanté can help a sister that's way behind. Lost in the mind and can't find her way to a better day. You know the kind. So wrapped up in fairy tale dreams. So naive that every male seems honest and loyal, ready to spoil. Buying them gifts as if the boy's loyal. Well, Shanté is here just to say a few things. Some you heard before, but some are new things. So lend me your ears, dry up your tears, and let's hear the cheers for the years of the independent woman.
Wait a minute. I forgot to play y'all a little bit of the Love Me All acoustic. I'm learning. Don't be mad. Let's play it. I don't know how to play the guitar yet.
Singing in your life, you ain't never had that other life. There's one swimming in the lake when you're with me by my side. Yes, singing in your life, you ain't never had that other life. There's one swimming in the lake when you're with me by my side.
You're like, what? That's right. You ain't bought it. You can't stream it. But I gave you a little taste. Let me show you something super cool because as a record producer, I love being able to write my own songs, rap on my own songs, sing on my own songs. And then as a record producer, I can sample myself. So that's great because then I never have to worry about clearance. So let me show you Ting, which is a song featuring Taj Mahal, where I sampled that, the Love Me All acoustic, before I had released it. Oh, here we go. Ready?
Is it like one real one who want one real one, just one on one who could open up? I know how to love, many wanna fuck. Ain't no competition, can't nobody touch this. Stop. Hammer time. When I find him, I'ma give him my body, soul, and my mind. If he earn it, I'ma give him
my loyalty and my time. It was so hot, the earring fell out. Let's see. When I find him, I'ma give him my body, soul, and my mind. If he yearn it, I'ma give him my loyalty and my time. I'm a boss, ain't they business. Baby, I handle mine. One real one who want one. Real one, just one on one. I ain't sharing shit. Come a little closer, less you scared of it. Curves a roller coaster, hold me for we dip. Many scared of us, so they run hide. Ain't nothing left to lose, baby, but pride. Why settle for the flings in the nighttime when you got the love of a lifetime? Singing to your life, you ain't never had another like this. You want to hear how the sample sounds? Okay, I'll show you one more thing, and then we'll get back to Roxanne Shanté to close it out. Good shit. I really want to learn how to DJ. Y'all think I should learn how to DJ? Please, Spotify. Oh, no, you know what? We don't need Spotify. Fuck Spotify. Except for scared to say that. All right, here we go. And that beat was made by Calvin Harris. And he and I listened to the Love Me All Acoustic, which is this recent release. And I was like, no, I want to sample it, but I don't know what part to sample. The song is like 8 minutes and 45 seconds long, and this is the part that he picked. And then there's a bunch of different things that we did. I also worked with Drew Williams out of Oakland, California, North Oakland to be exact. I don't know if they still calling it Ice City out there. I remember when I was growing up, they used to call it the Pole, the North Pole. And I came back from college and I was like, oh, we in the Pole? And they were like, we don't call it that anymore. They were like, Coco, it's Ice City. But maybe they call it something different now because y'all know I'm not in the streets like that. So. But big shout out to Drew Williams. Him and Noe back before I used to even, I remember I was like really struggling financially and I would like pay them in food. I'd be like, I don't got no money, but I could like make you 1 or 2 meals in exchange for studio time. And you always got to give love to your brothers who hold you down. But yeah, we worked on that record and got to collaborate with Taj Mahal, who, of course was in the Love Me All, who of course was playing guitar over Ting. So we sampled the Love Me All acoustic and then he came into the studio and played guitar on Ting. So there's like fresh playing all throughout the track, including the outro. And that was a super dope experience to get to produce that record, executive produce it, not make the beat, which was Calvin Harris. Okay, so enough about me. Back to Shanté. Let's go, Shanté.
How many ruddy nosed kids can you have? How many nights can you work on the app? Your so-called man has a car and a visa. He's living large while you're living on pizza. cause it's getting late. What you waiting for? It's really never coming. No one hears the sorry tunes that you're humming. I'm here to bring the news that if you're singing the blues every day, it will not change the views that people have of you. They say you're lost. Nobody forced you to quit. Your future's tossed. You put your faith in the guys with the hazel eyes. You thought you would get a prize. All you got was lies. Now you're stuck in a room with a mop and broom. Did you assume that one day you would find a groom? Are you dizzy? Who would ever marry you? You're looking for a man that will carry you and buy you nice things like diamond rings. You're amazed at the truth that my rhyming brings, but the truth is the only way you'll ever see that the life that you're hoping for will never be. But the race isn't over. Put down the rope. Shanté is here to say there's still hope. So lend me your ears,
Hey.
dry up your tears, and let's have the cheers for the years of the independent woman.
Louder. Yeah, thank you so much for rocking with us. All right, I'll see y'all next week, 1 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific in the US. All right, peace.